Good morning to everybody on frequency. This is the broadcast of Sandton Amateur Radio Club, and we will be going through the South African Radio League news for Sunday the 14th of 2024. We'll also cover some club news and see what's happening in the club and what you can get involved in, if not just on the SARL. Good morning and welcome to the weekly news bulletin of the South African Radio League, read by Keith, ZS6HI, on behalf of ZS6STN from Fourways in Johannesburg. In the news today, SARL requests information to facilitate annual general meeting, club news, and a contest news. Stay tuned for more information on these and other interesting news items. For AGM 2024, please participate in a 3-question survey. The SARL Annual General Meeting and Awards Dinner will take place in Cape Town on the weekend of 19 to 21 April 2024, hosted by the Cape Town Amateur Radio Centre, or CTARC. To assist the planning committee in getting an idea of the size of the venue required, and to assist with the catering planning, please participate in a 3-question survey on the SARL voting system. Log on to the SARL voting system at sarl.org.za/web3/electronic voting, or follow the link on the SARL homepage. There is an information document on how to answer the questions. Please read it prior to answering the 3 questions. So just a heads up, I have done my voting, and obviously they're trying to find out whether we are going to be attending the SARL in Cape Town or not, or the awards dinner on a Saturday night or not. So please go and let them know whether you are going to be attending. If you're not sure at this stage, you have to put in an abstain. If you are sure that you're attending, you have to put in an approved, and if you definitely not going to be there, you have to put in a declined. Because of the weak responses from past week, the closing date for the survey is now midnight on Monday the 15th of January 2024. Registration for the event will open directly after the poll. Your participation in the survey will be much appreciated. Only with your assistance will the team be able to create a superb event. Then we have SARL communication and apology. The SARL secretary apologizes that members received SARL communication 2 or 3 times on Friday, 12 January. There are no cell phone signals at the mouth of the Great Fish River. This is due to the vandalism 18 months ago at the Old Fish River Sun Complex. So Dennis, ZS4BS, has to get into his car and look for a signal along the R70T road and to download and upload email, and the signal is not always the best. Thank you, Dennis, for driving on the R72 to find the signal. Moving on to club news, it is time again to prepare for the new RAE in May 2024. The Bulletin Amateur Radio Club would like to invite you to join in on our countrywide online RAE course presented in Afrikaans. The 13-week course takes place on Tuesday evenings from 7 to 9 in the evening via Zoom, and will start on the 13th of February. The course fee is only 250 Rand per person. For more detailed information, the full schedule as well as the registration link, please visit bark.org.za/cursus-RAE or contact Yanni at zs1jfk@gmail.com. But just to indicate that the Sandton Amateur Radio Club RAE online courses are going to start around the 20th of February, and they will also obviously be providing virtual classes countrywide. So if you do know of anybody who would like to do classes in English, please do send them the link rae@zs6stn.coza, and Samir will then get back to them with a revamped welcome pack and get them onto the course or get them onto the RAE registration. So look forward to that one, because the RAE is always a highlight of the provisions or the services that Sandton Amateur Radio Club provides to the community, and it normally brings in some new blood into the club as well, which is pretty awesome. Aha! We know you were looking for something interesting this coming Saturday afternoon, the 20th of January at 1300 CAT. So here is a solution to your dilemma. There will be a gathering at the Rietfontein Nature Reserve in Paulshof, Johannesburg, ostensibly to learn all about fox hunting. But in addition, what a lovely site for a picnic or even a short walk around the reserve. Have you heard of fox hunting or radio direction finding? Are you interested but uncertain if this is for you? Are you an experienced fox hunter who would like to share their knowledge? Or do you just want a great afternoon out in a nature reserve with fellow hams and their families? Well then, please diarize the afternoon of 20 January from 1300 CAT, 1300 Central African time, as we'll be holding a get-to-know fox hunting instructional in the Rietfontein Nature Reserve in Paulshof to help all interested parties gain an understanding of fox hunting and how they can participate. This is ahead of the fox hunting events that will take place throughout the year, such as a Find Your Food fox hunt, a dry fox hunt, and a walking fox hunt. The session will cover the equipment that can be used to participate in fox hunting, the types of hunts, as well as various helpful strategies that may assist hunters. There will even be an opportunity to test a theory and use your own or borrowed equipment to find a hidden fox on the reserve. At the most basic level, all you need is a handy-talkie. So if you have one, bring it along. Remember that you do not need to be a licensed amateur to participate in fox hunting. Anyone can participate. So please also bring along all who are interested. Fox hunting is a really fun activity for all ages, and everyone is welcome to join the fun on Saturday afternoon, and we would love you to do so. Please see the SARL upcoming events diary for all the details. Next is the Sasolburg ARC. We'll be operating ZS6STN Victor Delta Alpha Mike from 1st of December 2023 to 1st of April 2024 to celebrate the 85th anniversary of the opening of the Vaal Dam. The call sign will be active on HF and VHF or higher frequenting various modes. There is also a special QSL card available. You send your QSL card to the Sasolburg ARC and you will receive in return the ZS85 VDAM QSL card. So I've heard these guys on the air, and I've actually made contact with them. It's an awesome little intervention to activate a call sign for the 85th anniversary of the Vaal Dam. What a lovely intervention. Contest news. Heads up, here comes an important final reminder. You have less than 1 week to finalize your plans for the QRP contest taking place from 7:30 to 9:30 UTC this coming Saturday, 20 January 2024. Have you decided whether you will be operating QRP power or operating as a QRP chaser? Will you be operating from your QTH or as a field station or even a portable field station which you carry to site? Will you be operating phone, CW, FT8, JSAT call, or all of the above? The QRP contests are fun activities to promote QRP operations and experimentation. So come along and have some fun. Test your station, see what you can achieve on low power, and submit your log. There will be certificates for participation, as well as awards for the top scoring QRP contesters and the QRP chaser. See the SARL contest manual and upcoming events diary for all the details, and download the QRP contest logbook in Excel format from the SARL website. The QRP contest is on Saturday morning, this coming Saturday morning, 20 January. So what a great way to start the day. Get on air and have some awesome summer fun. We'll reiterate, because I know I sound like a broken record, but the Sandton Amateur Radio Club is underwriting the QRP contest for 2024, and we would certainly like to encourage as much participation from Santonites as possible. We've also been talking around running the ZS6STN call sign as part of the contest, So please, guys, if you can, let's join in on Saturday morning. It starts at 9:30 and ends at 11:30 South African Standard Time. So from 9:30 you can go out there, or you can do it from your QCH. You can be a chaser. You don't even need to run QRP power if you're unable to or you don't wish to. So you can be a chaser and you can still win prizes. And the QRP is, there's five different QRP awards, the QRP Master, and then 4 mode awards. So please do join us on this coming Saturday morning for the QRP contest. Right, at this time I'd like to just have a break to see out if there is anybody that wishes to introduce any additional club news. So I'm not sure if Samir is on frequency. I know he's running or preparing for the RAE, but let's take call-ins for club news. This is ZS6STN now listening for club news. ZR6 Delta Echo. Morning, Richard. Thank you for coming in. ZR6 Delta Echo, please take a round. ZS6STN is listening.
Announcement, a comprehensive announcement about our fox hunting introduction next Saturday. He's did a great job of writing the copy for that and getting it onto SARL News. And I think that basically sums it up. But please do come along. 1 o'clock at Frequency Nature Reserve. It really is a great for hidden gem of a venue in northern Joburg. Very easy to access, secure parking, and a great place for a walk around as well. So we're planning to find a fox or 2 around the area and go and find it and do some practical exercises. Depending on who comes, if we've got lots of newbies, we'll talk about the more basic parts of fox hunting. If we've got people done it many times before, I hope I'll have some new equipment to share, and if everyone can bring their equipment along, we can lend it around and see how it all works. And just also remember that you do not need to be licensed to take part in fox hunting because you're only receiving signals. So it's open to anyone, even if you are not a fan. So if you have friends who'd like to get involved, please do bring them along. 1 o'clock next Saturday afternoon on the QRP contest, and we'll meet in the parking lot at Frequency Nature Reserve. And then the next fox hunt after that will be on the 2nd of February. It is a very informal find your food event. So it's a Friday evening. What we'll do, I'll set up a fox at about 5 o'clock, 4, somewhere in the, I think technically it is at the sale area, not far off the Koppen, but it is not on the Koppen like the last one. But there are a couple of restaurants we can choose to go to, and I'll set up a fox, and people can come along and find it, and then we'll go and have a dinner and a social after that. So no point towards the fox hunting league or anything, but just an informal opportunity to come out and test your gears in the field. So I'm looking forward to that as well. More details to follow as far as the more specific areas to be hunting into that one. Other than that, I don't think there's anything from my side. And to you, thank you very much. ZS6STN from ZR6 Delta Echo.
Thank you very much for that, Richard. Yes, I reiterate the fox hunt. You've just given a great overview of the Rietfontein Nature Reserve in Paulshof, which is close by for most people, so it'll be pretty awesome. And the 2nd of February, Find Your Food Fox Hunt. I attended the last one. It was great fun, guys. So come along, find your food. And I know that Richard broadcasts towards the end of the hunt time the actual venue, so that anybody who wants to come along and join the social and have a bit of bite to eat with everybody else can join in, even if they don't wish to participate in the fox hunt. Yeah, so join us for the 2nd of February, Friday, Find Your Food Fox Hunt. That's also a great one to do. The 14-meter club contest takes place this month as well. I don't have my notes in front of me, but I do believe, I think it's on the Saturday 27th. Is that a Saturday? 27th of January is the 40-meter club contest. It operates at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And obviously here we are competing against all the other clubs around the country. So you get individual scores, but you also get club scores. So we came third, as mentioned many times already, in both the 40-meter club contest and the 80-meter club contest last year. And it would be wonderful if we could have a few more people participating in the 40-meter and 80-meter club contests to raise our club's profile or score, so that we're in the top 3 already, but it would be wonderful to be in the top 2. So please, I encourage everyone to switch their radios on the 40-meter club contest. I think it's on the afternoon of the 27th of January, and to make some 40-meter QSOs and have a bit of fun on the radio. It's always great. You can also, if you're going towards your WAS 100, 200, 300 or upwards, it gives you an opportunity to grab some new call signs and get them into your logbook to discuss other items at the club meeting. Some of it is relating to advertising. The club has also prepared a little A5 size logbook for really all those people who want a paper log. You can also take it out into the field with you. It's lightweight, and you can use it on your activations. So if you're interested in an A5 logbook, do let us know. We're just having a look at what it will cost to print a few copies, and then we will get that moved forward as well. We were also looking at trying to just enhance the logos for the ZS6STN club so that we can use it on pop-up banner when we go out into the field on field days, so that people can see who's out there on field days. We do have an older canvas banner here, and we do use that, but we also would love to have a pop-up. So look for the banner on Saturday the 20th in the afternoon when you come along for the fox hunt instructional and social event at the Redfontaine Nature Reserve as well. Hannes Kutsia, ZS6BZP, reports that the solar activity is expected to be on moderate levels. There are currently 11 sunspot regions with simple to slightly complex magnetic configurations visible. There's a high probability for C-class and moderate probability for M-class solar flares. If you want to do your own frequency predictions, the effective sunspot number for the week will be around 136. The 10 to 30 meter bands may provide some good DX fun, especially in the early morning and late afternoon. Please visit the website spaceweather.samsa.org.za for further information. Finally, a diary of some upcoming events. 15 January, the NARC reopens. So NARC reopens on the 15th of January. The provincial schools reopen on the 17th of January. The closing date for the Peers VHF-UHF contest taking place this weekend is on 19th January. The SARL Summer QRP contest, please be there guys, is on the 20th of January. And the Sandton Arc Fox Hunting Instructional is also on the 20th of January in the afternoon. So we'd like as many of you to participate and join us at those events as possible. On the 25th of January is the closing date for the QRP logs. On the 27th of January is the SARL Saturday 40-meter club contest. Just as an aside, on the SARL website, if you don't already know, they have put on the contest tab an ICS file. So if you go and download that ICS file and you click on it, then it will update your calendar with all the SARL events per the SARL 2024 diary. So we'll have all the events placed into your diary automatically, the SARL events. So that's quite an awesome facility, guys. On the 31st of January is the closing date for the AGM motions and award nominations, and the registration for the May RAE will also open on the 31st of January. On the 2nd of February is the closing date for the 40-meter club contest logs. And do remember that tomorrow evening there is the closing date for the SARL AGM voting. So please go and do the voting. It doesn't take too long. And this concludes our bulletin for the SARL bulletin for this morning. At this point, I'd like to then hand over to Chris, who I understand has actually got a tech talk prepared, and that's awesome, Chris. Thank you very much. ZS6GM, and this is ZS6STN, and listening.
Yeah, thanks, Keith. ZS6STN, operated by ZS6HI, ZS6GM. Well, I don't have a tech talk prepared, but I can do it as a quick 10-minute lecture off the top of my head, because it's a topic that I understand and have been doing for a while, and I hope you will find it helpful and useful. Just in starting, we say that the Antique Wireless Association Net yesterday featured the topic I'm going to talk about, and that's all about suppressing switch mode power supplies and the problem with interference from switch mode power supplies. So there are basically two types of switch mode power supplies that we come across as radio amateurs, and this is excluding the ones used for LED lighting. That's another story altogether. So wall warts, cell phone chargers, and the like can be a serious source of noise and interference. And an example of this was about 18 months ago. I had S9 plus of noise right across the HF bands. I went out hunting with a little handheld portable radio tuned to the medium wave band, so I could use the ferrite rod as a direction finding or direction finder. And I eventually found one of my far neighbors, about 700 meters away, was emitting this most terrible noise, which was both radiating and coming down the mains wires. And it turned out to be a little 12-volt plug-in wall wart for a DSTV decoder. So I always keep a couple of spares of good ones, and I swapped his one out. I said, do you mind if we change it over? I'll give you another one. He said, not at all. So I gave him another one, and it's been quiet since then. So these little wall warts can go wrong. The capacitors dry out in them, or you find that you can get a faulty diode or something. And some of the generic ones, the non-name brand ones, actually don't have proper filtering on the mains. The mains is connected directly to a little diode bridge via a capacitor, and that's it. So the noise in the switch mode from that diode switching circuit is amazing. So the solution for those in your own environment, in your shack, I went and bought a couple of power strips from Leroy Merlin. They seem to be the only ones that stock them at the moment. And it's a 4-outlet 2-pin power strip. And the particular one that I bought also had a USB charger in it. And I made up a little common mode choke with a couple of X and Y capacitors. And I now, wherever we have cell phone chargers in the house or chargers for other devices, they plug into that power strip, and I don't get any HF interference at all. Then the other sort of switch mode power supplies, just one comment from Renato on the net yesterday. He said, if you have a noisy wall wart, smash it with a hammer and throw it away. They're not worth doing anything else about them. Just find some good ones. All right. So the other sort of switch mode power supplies are what we call the open frame style power supplies. And those are the ones that Meanwell seem to be the most common supplier in this country, but Communico sells their own brand name, which is not a Meanwell. And Mantec, I think, sells Meanwell now. But these are the open frame power supplies, and they come in ratings of various voltages. 12 volts is the most common and used quite often for alarm battery chargers and so on. And they generally have a 3 amp or thereabouts output at 13.5 volts. But you get bigger ones up to 48 volts and up to 100 amps. And in the amateur shack, the one that you would probably most commonly use would be either a 20 amp or a 30 amp 13.5 volt or nominally 12 volt switch mode power supply. So we get two sorts of interference from these power supplies. One is the harmonics of the actual switching frequency. Now the oscillation frequency is typically around about 60 to 70 kilohertz, and you can tune a receiver, an all-mode receiver right across the HF spectrum, and you'll find these harmonics, and it almost sounds like a burbling noise, which goes up and down the band. Now, you can quite successfully operate between them, but it's a real pain to have these harmonics and these little spikes of burble, and generally modulated with a 50 hertz signal as well, so they're quite easy to identify. And the other sort of noise that you have is wideband noise, or hash, and this is caused generally by the lower cost power supplies. So the question is, how do we tame these so that we don't interfere with our HF receivers? Well, the output of switch mode power supplies are generally floating. In other words, the positive and negative are not connected to the frame or the chassis of the power supply, but the mains earth, if there's an earth terminal on it, is connected to the frame of the power supply, and that's really for safety purposes. So one of the things you don't want to do is to connect the negative of your switch mode power supply directly to the frame. You'll find that it may reduce the noise level somewhat, but also it helps to transmit the noise through the mains and back into your antenna system. So before talking about chokes, just remember that ferrite material is responsive to different frequencies. So if we talk about a ferrite 31 material, which is fairly common for chokes and switch mode chokes and so on, the 31 material is designed for the lower frequencies and is quite effective up to about 1 or 2 megahertz. But above that, you'll find that the effectiveness of the choking power, if you like, of the ferrite falls off quite rapidly up into the HF region. So the 43 material is far better, and that's useful up to about 20 megahertz. But if you're going up into the VHF region, then you need something with a slightly lower permeability. So if you're making a common mode choke, you probably want to make a common mode choke using a high permeability material, like a 31 material, and then follow that choke with 2 individual chokes. In other words, not common mode, but 2 individual chokes wound on a 43 or even a lower permeability material. I have some ferrites that measure out at a mu of 125, and I use those. So basically what you're doing is putting 2 chokes in series. So the common mode choke takes care of all the low frequency stuff and the hash that you pick up, and then the high frequency chokes remove the harmonics of the switch mode power supply. So you have 2 chokes in series. Now you also want to decouple the output using the equivalent of X and Y capacitors. Now, if you're not operating at mains voltages, you can just use normal metallized polyester capacitors, or sometimes called mylar capacitors, which you can buy from all the usual outlets, Mantec, Communica, RS components, and so on. And as long as they have a voltage rating well above the actual operating voltage of your switch mode power supply, that's fine. Then you earth the frame of the power supply to the negative line, but after the chokes. In other words, the output of the switch mode power supply is floating, goes through the chokes, and then the output you put you ground the negative line to the frame of the power supply. Now, depending on your actual earthing arrangements in your shack, if you have a very good RF earth, you don't want to connect the mains earth to the frame of the power supply, but rather use your RF earth as the earth, and that will ensure the lowest noise level. Inserting the capacitors, you put the capacitors on the outside of the chokes. In other words, not on the switch mode side, but on the output side of the chokes. And you can use different value capacitors in parallel, because as with the ferrite material, Capacitors also have self-resonant frequencies, and for the lower frequencies, you want to use a larger value capacitor, maybe a 0.1 or 0.47 microfarads. And for the VHF, for the higher order harmonics of the oscillator, you want to use somewhere around about 0.047 or even 0.01, so a 10 nanofarad capacitor, or a number of 10 nanofarad capacitors, and that will get rid of those high frequency spikes. Now, I've experimented with taming all sorts of power supplies, and the method that I've talked about has worked successfully with all but one very cheap power supply that was used as a battery charger or a float charger in a garage door system. So if you find one that you can't tame, rather chuck it out and go and buy one that you can tame, and buy one of the good known brands. And I can say that Meanwell and the Communica own name brand switch mode power supplies are generally very good when it comes to noise. But they're not designed, or the filtering in them is not designed to suppress at HF frequencies, which is why we need to do our own housekeeping as well. So Renato, ZS6STN, has done quite a lot of experimentation with measuring and categorizing ferrite cores, which have been salvaged from old computers and power supplies and so on. So if you'd like some assistance in characterizing some cores that you found or you managed to salvage, speak to Renato, and he'll be able to assist. And I know that the AWA is going to prepare an article on using ferrite cores, how to measure them, and how to select them for the various applications. Well, I hope you found that useful. If you want some more information from me, I'm happy for you to drop me a line and use my WhatsApp on 076-372-1847, 076-372-1847. If you sell my cell phone number to a mailing list, I'll cut you out of my Christmas card list. So, Keith, I hope that's been helpful. Thank you very much. And we'll pick this topic up another time. And I know that you're looking for information for the dipole. So go and tap Renato on his shoulder if he's not listening here. ZS6STN, ZS6GM.
QSL, thank you very much for that, Chris. A great little introduction into how to tame power supplies that are naughty. Thank you for that, Chris. Unprepared request, but it was awesome. And just out of interest to everybody, we've always recorded our bulletins, our Sunday bulletins, and Marius ZR6MS has always rebroadcast our bulletins on Tuesday evenings. He's going to be continuing that for the moment, and we would really like to see how many people make use of that facility. Probably none of you, because you're all listening on the Sunday morning, but there are members who are obviously unable to listen on Sunday morning, and then the rebroadcast is available for them on Tuesday evenings. But what we're also doing as a committee now, we are going to publish the audio files with a nice cover on our YouTube channel. So YouTube channel is going to be used more this year, and the bulletins will be published there for anyone who wants to go and listen to them, because perhaps you can't get to the bulletin on a Tuesday evening. So, and if no one's listening on Tuesday evenings, we will eventually stop that service and just have the service from the YouTube channel as the follow-up. So please do remember that. And if you are listening on a Tuesday evening, please let Marius know. Otherwise, we feel that we're doing something that's not creating any value for members. You have been listening to a news bulletin broadcast by the Sandton Amateur Radio Club. This morning, broadcast by ZS6HI on behalf of ZS6STN, and I just stepped into the breach, and you heard a tech talk from Chris, who also just stepped into the breach. So thank you very much to Noel and everybody who has contributed to the bulletin this morning, and for all those who've called in and said good morning. We would love you to do that more often. We really want the repeater to work, because that's what we try to maintain, and if it's not being used, it's not much fun. So from the news team, best wishes for the week ahead, and 73. ZS6STN now relinquishes all frequencies for general use.